All right, let's dive into a really fascinating argument today. It comes from an Oxford mathematician, John Lennox, and he poses a pretty provocative question. What if a 2,000-year-old prediction about deception is actually the most accurate description of our world right now?
And this is the question that really frames the entire discussion. The idea isn't about some obvious, blatant lie that's easy to spot. No, it's about a counterfeit, something so close to the real thing, so compelling, that millions might not even realize they're embracing it.
So where does this come from? Well, at the very heart of this is a historical claim, and it's presented not just as an article of faith, but as a testable hypothesis, a falsifiable prediction. The source material points out that Jesus repeatedly warned that the era to come would be characterized by incredibly clever deception, all done in his name.
Okay, so let's really dig into this. First, we need to look at the specific details of the prediction itself, and then we'll hold it up against the world we're all living in today and see if it fits.
According to the source, this prediction isn't just one vague statement. It actually has three really specific components. First, that there would be a worldwide explosion of counterfeit teachings, all claiming his authority but twisting the message. Second, and this is key, they wouldn't be clumsy forgeries. They'd be persuasive, attractive, compelling. And third, this whole trend wouldn't fade away. It would actually get more and more intense as history went on.
And what's so interesting is how this connects to what modern thinkers are observing. The philosopher Charles Taylor talks about the Nova effect, this explosion of spiritual choices in our time that doesn't lead to clarity, but instead to this dizzying confusion. It sounds an awful lot like that first part of the prediction, doesn't it?
Here you can really see the kind of subtle shift the argument is talking about. It's not a total rejection, it's a redefinition. The claim to be the one and only way gets softened into being one way among many. The figure who performed miracles becomes just a great moral teacher. The bodily resurrection becomes a symbolic one, you see. It's a fundamental change of identity, packaged in familiar language.
Okay, now let's hit pause and deal with the biggest, most intelligent objection to all of this. Because you have to ask, is this a genuine prophecy, or is it just a clever trick?
Right. I mean, isn't this all a bit vague? Predicting deception seems like a pretty safe bet for any period in human history. It feels a bit like a horoscope that says something so general it's guaranteed to come true. You can always look back and find something that fits.
The technical term for this is cold reading. You cast this really wide, general net, and then you let people, or in this case, history, fill in the details for you. The skeptical argument is that this isn't an impressive prediction at all. It's just a general observation that's bound to be right.
But this is where the argument pushes back. It claims the prediction isn't general at all. In fact, its real power is supposedly found in four very specific, very testable details. So see, the argument goes that these four elements make the claim incredibly specific. It's not about general deception. It's about a very particular kind. One that centers on the identity of Christ, that's backed up by what look like miracles, that specifically targets the most committed believers, and that gets worse over time. Taken together, that's a very narrow target, not a wide net.
And the source really emphasizes how unique this specific pattern is. You just don't see massive, global movements performing signs and wonders in the name of, say, Confucius or Plato, while fundamentally contradicting what they taught. This specific flavor of counterfeit seems to be exclusively centered on the person of Jesus.
So if we accept that the prediction is specific, the next big question is how? How could a deception this sophisticated actually pull it off? How could it fool even really smart, really sincere people?
I think the author C.S. Lewis captured the mechanism perfectly with this quote. It's not about a sudden, obvious turn. It's a gradual slope. The error is so slight at the beginning, the path is so soft underfoot that you don't even realize you're going in the wrong direction until it's too late.
Now remember, this argument is being presented by a mathematician, so he uses this fascinating analogy from his own field called a morphism. In math, a morphism is something that preserves the structure of an object but totally changes its core content. Applied here, it means the counterfeit has all the right structures, the worship, the community, the language, it feels right, but the essential truth at its center has been swapped out.
Here's another way to think about it, using a bit of information theory. The syntax, the form, the words, the structure of the message, it all looks correct and familiar. But the semantics, the actual meaning behind those words, has been totally corrupted. It's like a computer program that looks perfect on the screen but has malicious code hidden inside.
And the great writer Dostoevsky gives us the psychological why. Why would people fall for this? Because, as he writes, we crave miracle, mystery, and authority. But the real thing often comes with real demands. A counterfeit offers the experience without the cost, and that makes it incredibly seductive.
And all of this leads us to the final part of the argument, and honestly, it might be the most profound piece of the whole puzzle. What does the very existence of a counterfeit tell us?
And here's the twist. The argument is that the existence of countless fakes doesn't prove the original is also fake. In fact, it does the exact opposite. It argues powerfully that the original must be real and incredibly valuable.
This analogy just drives the point home so perfectly. Think about it. Nobody bothers to counterfeit something that's worthless. The reason there's a massive global industry for counterfeiting American dollars is precisely because the real American dollar has immense value. You only counterfeit what is genuine and precious.
So the whole argument lands here. The 2,000-year-old prediction seems to have played out with stunning accuracy. And the sheer scale, the incredible effort put into creating counterfeits and redefining Jesus, well, that itself becomes powerful evidence for the extraordinary value of the original. Which leaves all of us with the most important question of all. If the original is that valuable, what do we do with it?